She tells Kai back that she's feeling sick again and asks what to do. He just looks at the doctor standing behind her and gives a cold laugh. Absolutely nothing. Let's just get a divorce. Lu Nu-yen clearly never expected him to actually say that. Her face is completely frozen in shock. For over a whole year now, she has used every single excuse in the book, pretending to go bankrupt, faking amnesia, acting totally crazy, constantly dragging him down until he's completely exhausted, physically and mentally. Since she wants to play these games, he'll just go ahead and grant her little wish. Finding out about Lu Nu-yen cheating with Than isn't exactly a brand new discovery for him either. For all this time, she's been trying to force him to bring up divorce first, even throwing out countless totally fake medical reports. Seeing them walk out of that room together again, those messy marks on her neck pretty much say it all. She actually asks if he's crazy for wanting a divorce. He just gives a bitter laugh. Isn't this exactly the moment she's been hoping for day and night? Back when she kept constantly running off to the hospital, staying away from home all the time, always making up excuses about feeling unwell, and completely avoiding any kind of physical touch with him. He already knew right then that their relationship had finally reached its absolute end. Married for 7 whole years, keeping their finances strictly split down the middle, every single expense recorded clear as day. She runs her own company, and he has his own studio. She always claimed they were totally independent individuals, and neither of them should ever have to rely on the other. But seeing Lu Nu-yen pushing herself so hard, he actually decided to slow his own career down, doing everything he could to take good care of her. Yet right now she has the nerve to ask if his little studio shut down, claiming he'd be sleeping on the streets by now if it weren't for her. Than immediately chimes right in. He tells Kai back that Nu-yen's mood is pretty unstable lately, so he shouldn't provoke her. He stares right at Lu Nu-yen, feeling incredibly bitter and completely resentful, just asking, is that really so? With a doctor standing right here, is there any fear she won't be cured? Hearing his sharp sarcasm, Lu Nu-yen gets totally furious and screams, demanding to know what he means. She insists Than is a top-tier surgeon, and they are purely just friends. He refuses to listen to another word or drag this out, turning around to leave the house and hit a bar to drown his sorrows. Right after they got married, Lu Nu-yen actually got pregnant. But for her career, she ended the pregnancy entirely on her own, without even discussing it with him, actually brainwashing him into believing that many modern couples just don't have kids, and being child-free is perfectly fine. He constantly compromised and kept stepping back, spending the last 3 entire years wholeheartedly taking care of her every single need. And the result? She falls for someone else and completely despises him to the core. The very next day, he grabs the divorce papers he already prepared and knocks on Lu Nu-yen's office door. Wearing a sharp suit he hasn't touched in ages, he sits right across from her. Lu Nu-yen frowns, asking Kai back what his problem is. Whether he's drunk or just losing his mind. He just mocks himself. Nope, he's definitely not the one having a mental breakdown here. Honestly, who's the one really acting crazy? Lu Nu-yen aggressively rips up the divorce agreement, glaring at him with pure arrogance. Watch this reaction. She claims it was just a little joke, asking why he's so serious. Furious, he shoots straight up, his voice turning ice cold. Whether it's a joke or reality, she knows better than anyone. If she absolutely refuses to sign, then they'll just take it through the legal system. Lu Nu-yen's eyes are completely filled with nasty contempt and sarcasm. She sneers, is he just playing the victim to get his way, or throwing another jealous fit? He lets out a sharp laugh. Jealous? What right does he even have to be jealous anymore? To her, what actually counts as a major issue? Right at that exact moment, Than walks straight out of the inner office. That's the private lounge he specifically designed for Lu Nu-yen after their wedding. He himself hasn't even slept in there more than twice. Yet Than casually strolls out wearing pajamas. Than remarks that Kai back mood seems really unstable. He mockingly asks if it's an emotional disorder and offers to introduce him to a good doctor. He sarcastically fires back, so the guy skips out on his actual job just to play the homewrecker. Inside someone else's office, Lu Nu-yen completely loses it, grabbing everything in sight and hurling it right at him. A sharp object slices his forehead, leaving a painful red mark down his cheek. A quick flash of panic shows up in her eyes, but he just lets out a quiet laugh and walks away. The whispering from the staff instantly starts up. They wonder what right Kai back even has to get angry at CEO Lu, calling him nothing more than a pathetic freeloader. In absolutely everyone's eyes, he's just a useless accessory permanently attached to Lu Nu Yen. Even though he's the one demanding the divorce, nobody actually believes it's real. Completely convinced that he doesn't even feel the pain or humiliation anymore, he heads to the hospital all alone to get patched up. It's honestly kind of tragic. Before, even a tiny scratch would make Lu Nu Yen stay up all night worrying beside him, but now, there's just no room left for him in her heart. Walking right out of the clinic, he unexpectedly runs into Wei Than in his white doctor's coat, aggressively blocking his path. Standing tall, and constantly throwing out provocations, he asks Kai back dat who he actually thinks he is. Claiming Nu Yen won't even spare him a second glance anymore, he tightens his fists, not even bothering to look back at the guy. He sneers, asking if he knew how incredibly passionate Nu Yen was with him on his birthday. They were up on a high floor, just watching him wait in the freezing rain for 4 solid hours, taunting that he's already breaking down before any real tricks were even used. So that was the incredibly harsh truth all along. Exactly 1 month on his birthday, Lu Nu Yen promised she wanted to give him a special surprise, and that massive surprise was leaving him standing there like a total idiot while they mocked him. Returning to this house, looking at the absolute mess everywhere, he just finds it darkly hilarious. A few years back, to help Liu Nhy's company secretly handed over a ton of resources. I even told my industry friends to lie to her to say I was just running some small studio. Definitely not the CEO of a company about to go public. She actually thought I wasn't good enough for her anymore. She truly believed I was just some guy entirely dependent on her money. I start packing my bags, absolutely, completely done with staying in this house. Right then, my best friend calls KBCT. You need to decide what to do about Liu Nhy's new project. The line goes quiet for 2 seconds before she asks if we had a fight. I toss my last shirt into the suitcase and tell her no, we are getting a divorce. My friend is completely shocked. Mostly because she knows exactly how much I gave up just for Liu Nhin. She sighs and points out that I always knew Liu Nhin's plan was pretty much impossible. They only helped her out of respect for me. I press my lips together and tell her I know. Dinner is on me tonight. Walking out of that house with my suitcase feels like pure, absolute freedom. Later, at a high-end restaurant, a few friends are staring at me, totally confused. KBCT, why the divorce? I don't answer right away. I just take a slow sip of wine, tracing the glass with my finger, smiling a bitter smile. Maybe she just thinks I am not good enough for her anymore. My friend immediately gets furious. What? Dozens of girls are chasing after you. Your company is literally about to go public, and she dares to look down on you? I just shake my head, not wanting to explain. Right in the middle of our toast, Liu Nhin walks in arm with Wei Than. Seeing us there, she storms straight over and smashes a wine glass right onto the floor. KBCT, she yells. I have told you so many times how much I absolutely hate men drinking. What an absolute joke. I stand up and ask her why she hates guys drinking. Yet she is perfectly fine with Wei Than doing it. Now listen to this guy's excuse. Wei Than steps in, claiming he only drinks because of work stress. Unlike me hanging out with my useless friends, my friends are practically boiling over with anger. They have never been insulted like this, especially by some absolute nobody. I put a hand up to stop them. Liu Nhin lets out a cold scoff, telling me to just not come home then. She claims she has terrible insomnia and cannot stand the awful smell. Seeing me agree so fast leaves her completely stuck, unable to handle everyone staring at them. She grabs Wei Than and quickly storms out of the restaurant. My friends totally get it now. Liu Nhin just thinks she is successful enough to upgrade to someone totally new. Late that night, I head back to my luxury apartment right downtown. Her call comes in immediately. She angrily demands to know where I went, and if I am really not coming back tonight. She even aggressively accuses me of hiding another woman somewhere instead of coming home. The whole thing is just so funny to me. She literally forced my hand here, and now she is playing the poor victim. I tell her it is not about wanting to. I already made it completely clear. We are getting a divorce. She curses at me, then actually laughs, asking if I am just using divorce as a cheap excuse to squeeze more money out of her. Our finances have always been separate, anyway, and I am definitely not desperate enough to need her cash. After dropping that reality check, the line goes quiet. Just as she tries to speak, I hang up on her. Right after, Wei Than sends me a highly provocative video. They are having a romantic candlelight dinner in that exact same house. I mean, you really cannot make this up. In the video, she is holding a wine glass, face flushed, looking totally smitten. She literally just yelled at me and is now happily toasting with "Why tank then H?" I just text back, take real good care of her, since she clearly has serious issues like dissociation, going bankrupt, and severe memory loss. Remind her about the divorce so you can finally take my spot. I lock my screen, but her call immediately rings through again. I already know exactly what she wants to scream about, so I just switch my phone to Do Not Disturb and head to the shower. Why tank then H used a medical checkup to completely manipulate her, scaring her into thinking she had all these hidden illnesses. Over time, those two just kept getting dangerously close. She faked so many sick spells, really just hoping to force me out with nothing. She kept pushing my limits, taking a mile when I gave an inch. Well, I am out of hope now, and she must be pretty satisfied. The very next morning, I visit a nearby construction site, keeping a low profile, dress super casually, and throw on a hard hat. The manager walks with me, chats for a bit, then leaves to handle things. Suddenly, a very familiar, mocking voice rings out behind me. KBCT. Are you really struggling to survive this badly? You asked for a divorce yesterday and show up at a construction site today to cry about it? Even if your little studio closed down, I could easily give you 100 grand. I turn around and see Liu Nhyn with the crowd, Why tank then H right beside her. They are practically glued together, hickeys clearly visible on his neck. Why tank then H steps up and shoves my shoulder. KBCT. Apologize to her right now, and maybe she will reluctantly give you some pocket money. I immediately punch Why tank then H right in the face, making it crystal clear to back off. We are not even divorced yet, and you are already acting like the man of the house. Liu Nhyn shoves me away, shielding Why tank then H, screaming at me for daring to lay a hand on him. I can clearly see the genuine panic and heartbreak in her pretty eyes. Why wouldn't I? I snap back. If you're in such a hurry, just sign the damn papers. The waiting period is only a single month. Then you two can finally be official instead of sneaking around like cheap lovers. The moment my sarcastic words drop, she actually stomps her feet in pure fury. KBCT. You want a divorce? Let's go to the Civil Bureau right now. Why tank then H happily adds fuel to the fire. KBCT. I really just want to take care of Liu Nhyn. Absolutely no intention of replacing you. Now, Liu Nhyn hates being provoked, so she instantly tells her driver to speed up. Even after finishing the paperwork at the registry, she keeps that exact same arrogant look on her face. If you can't survive out there later, don't come begging me. I just look at them. From now on, we go our totally separate ways. Saying that, I walk right out. I've still got a huge pile of company work waiting for me. I really don't want to waste time on them. I just can't let Liu Nhyn know my company is going public yet, just to avoid any wild surprises. The divorce cooling off period is basically over. Then one day, I hit up a charity auction. Right as I walk in, I spot Liu Nhyn holding Why Then's hand, sitting way up in the corner. These high society charity auctions, they are half about showing off your wealth, and half about networking. Ever since she lost my quiet financial backing, Liu Nhyn's company has definitely taken a massive hit. She keeps trying to chat people up, but everyone just ignores her. I take a center seat in the front row, and she instantly loses her mind. She marches right up to me and yanks my sleeve. KBCT. Are you totally insane? This is no place for a manual laborer like you to sit. Why Nh looks a bit spooked by the crowd, but still yells out, yeah, where did you even borrow those clothes? Don't think putting on a fancy suit suddenly makes you royalty. I shoot them a truly disgusted look. The auction is starting, I tell them coldly, so making a scene right now really isn't appropriate. Liu Nhyn grits her teeth, just don't come begging me for money later. The auction kicks off with a few small items, just a couple million here and there. Liu Nhyn raises her paddle a few times, but never dares to actually bid high. Then comes an authentic masterpiece, starting right at 30 million. My voice echoes across the entire room. 50 million. Liu Nhyn's eyes just bug out. After all, that's basically half a year's profit for her entire company. 50 million, going once? Even for a charity event, that price is absolutely massive. The whole room buzzes until the hammer drops. Then, a huge crash rings out behind me. Turns out Liu Nhyn was trying to leave and accidentally knocked a chair over. She covers her face, bolting outside, actually feeling pretty lucky. Good thing I left fast, she thinks, or KBCT would definitely beg for money. Then someone nearby whispers out loud, this KBCT guy is seriously generous, isn't he? Oh, yeah, someone else answers. His company goes public next month. So what's a few extra million to him anyway? Liu Nhyn instantly grabs a middle-aged man's arm and asks in total panic, wait, who did you just say? KBCT, the guy going public. She immediately spins around and sprints right back inside. I've just finished wrapping up with the event manager when she suddenly returns. But pay close attention to her face. Here, she looks me up and down and asks suspiciously, wait, didn't your studio completely go bankrupt? How is it suddenly a listed company? I just frown a bit, but my assistant steps up and quickly pulls her away. Excuse me, miss, CEO K is discussing business, so please leave. YThanth rushes over too, still yelling arrogantly, KBCT. Don't think hiring some actors can actually fool us. Liu Nhyn's face instantly turns completely pale and ugly. Because in a place like this, sitting in that front row, you just can't fake it. A few of my old friends walk out, and seeing her with YThanth, they all look incredibly annoyed. YThanth looks surprised, and asks them, why are you guys even here? My friend, someone answers. Tien Fong VN speaks up. Our whole Playboy group got front row seats. He smirks. Why are you proper folks stuck way back in the corner? Turns out, the main sponsor of this whole event is actually Tien Fong VN. No wonder Liu Nhyn's status wasn't even close to being qualified to sit here. Looks like Tien Fong VN just wants to help me vent my anger. Ythan's face goes completely stiff. My family is highly educated, he mutters defensively, not like you nouveau rich show-offs. Liu Nhyn, I'll take good care of you. Now get a load of this guy. Hearing Ythan's totally superior tone, I just can't hold back a laugh. Oh really? Highly educated? I distinctly remember you graduating from some perfectly average university back in the day. Do you honestly think just finishing a basic degree automatically makes you some elite scholar? Liu Nhyn steps right in front of Ythanth, glaring at me with pure resentment. KBCT, you completely lied to me, you clearly aren't bankrupt at all. I just give her a faint smile. Well, didn't you lie to me too? You swore you two were just innocent friends. My friends, led by Tien Fong VN, immediately start teasing them too. Yeah, they mock. The young and capable CEO Liu is way too good for KBCT anyway. Since you're getting those divorce papers soon, this highly educated guy should definitely step up. Ythanth can't stand it anymore. He raises a fist to charge, but Liu Nhyn forcefully pulls him back. Let's just go, she snaps. Haven't you embarrassed us enough today? Liu Nhyn gives me one long, deep look before disappearing down the hall. Back then, she wouldn't have even spared a glance for a totally penniless KBCT. But seeing me shine like this today, with my company about to go public, her heart is definitely starting to waver. She glances over at Ythanth beside her, actually feeling a wave of disgust. Today was supposed to be her big networking chance, and now, it's completely ruined. Liu Nhyn, why did you pull me away? He whines. That KBCT guy clearly tricked you, you're not actually thinking about going back to him, are you? Hearing those words, Liu Nhyn immediately screams out, Ythanth, how can your vision be so incredibly shallow? Just from that single sentence, Ythanth storms off in pure anger. He took way too much frustration today. Now being looked down on by her, his fragile ego absolutely could not handle it. As for Liu Nhyn, she stands completely frozen, starting to seriously regret her past choices. Tien Fong VN pats my shoulder. He actually meant to discuss this exact thing with me, but I have been way too busy lately. I just smile without saying a word. Walking out of the hall, I spot Liu Nhyn still standing right by the doors, totally refusing to leave. She tries to approach me, but gets completely blocked. KBCT, she yells. What gives you the right to treat me like this? Is it really that hard for husband and wife to speak the truth? Well, how many times has she actually been honest with me? I don't even bother looking at her, just stepping right into my car. Ever since the wedding day, pure greed. Liu Nhyn has been heavily obsessed with money. Even though our relationship was still alright back then, we started splitting all of our expenses right down the middle, entirely at her strict request. She was completely terrified I would spend all her hard-earned cash. Because of that paranoia, I rarely even set foot inside her company building. After she cheated on me emotionally and then physically, constantly making a massive public joke out of everything we had. Whatever affection I still held for Liu Nhyn just slowly vanished into thin air. Late at night, I am still grinding away on overtime at the office, just making sure everything is totally perfect before the company officially goes public. Now watch how this flips. The day right before we get the divorce papers, Liu Nhyn ignores security and charges straight into my office. Her eyes are burning bright red as she yells, "KBCT, what exactly did you do to my company? All those suppliers who cooperated so smoothly before, why are they suddenly rejecting every single one of my proposals now?" I casually set my documents aside and reply completely calmly, "Your company had incredibly smooth sailing these past few years. Do you honestly think that was all your own ability? Did you not notice the friends I introduced you to all looked pretty familiar?" Just those two simple sentences alone are enough to leave Liu Nhyn trembling all over. Over the years, she honestly got way to used everything going perfectly smoothly, never once realizing it was only because I was always secretly helping her out from behind the scenes. Liu Nhyn bites her lip tight, but still lets out a scoff. "So what if I do not have your help? I fully believe in my own skills. I will build my own successful career. Just watch." I let out a very light laugh, a bit of mockery flashing in my eyes. It really seems she lacks any clear awareness of her own actual capabilities. Hearing me act so cold, Liu Nhyn practically jumps up in pure rage, but she cannot do a single thing. She went through massive trouble just to find my company address today. If the security guards had not slipped up today, she wouldn't even have the right to step foot up here. I finally see exactly what kind of person you really are. After dropping that line, she turns to leave. I call her right back. "Wait a minute." Instantly, a smile appears on her face, even looking totally confident. Then I drop it. "Tomorrow we get the divorce papers. You had better show up early." Liu Nhyn snaps her head back to me, her chest heaving with anger. "KBCT, well done," she says. "Is 7 full years of marriage really this easy for you to just throw away?" I answer her completely calmly. Cold eyes. "Who exactly was the one that let go of this marriage first anyway?" Liu Nhyn gets firmly escorted out by the security guards. She just cannot comprehend why absolutely everything has turned out exactly like this today. Legs feeling weak, she slumps right down onto a street bench, losing every single ounce of her polished image. Staring at the massive buildings ahead, the bitter resentment inside her just keeps rising higher and higher. She honestly cannot believe it. Without KBCT helping her out, is she really about to face total bankruptcy? The very next morning, beside the civil registry gates, Liu Nhyn is holding hands with YNH, already waiting there bright and early. You are not going to believe the nerve here. The two of them aren't hiding at all, wearing matching bright red outfits like they came to register a marriage. YNH raises an eyebrow and smirks right at me. "KBCT, you surely do not mind that NHYN and I showed up here together, right?" I let out a loud scoff. Why would I even mind? One cheater acting all righteous, and one homewrecker with a face way thicker than a brick wall. Liu Nhyn immediately pulls YNH back, glaring at me. A sharp warning. "KBCT, YNH is my boyfriend now, and I absolutely forbid you from insulting him like that." She still carries this bitter resentment deep inside, acting like she is desperately trying to prove her choice was actually correct. Despite a little bit of inner hesitation, she still stubbornly locks in her official relationship with YNH. But the moment we sit at the paperwork counter, Liu Nhyn suddenly wants to back out. "I need the restroom," she says. So, I deliberately provoke her. "What? Are you planning to run away? After so many years living together, how could I not read her perfectly?" Liu Nhyn is an incredibly prideful person. If I had not hidden my secret help in the past, she never would have dared to even accept it. Sure enough, she sits right back down. "Fine, I will sign. You think I am scared of you?" Even after getting the divorce papers, Liu Nhyn still mocks me. "Do not let your precious company go bankrupt right after listing. Over these past few years, aside from doing the household chores, I have seen zero real progress from you anywhere else." I answer completely calmly. "Progress? You really do not need to know." Then I just drive off. I genuinely want to see just how brilliantly she can manage to live her life after finally leaving me behind. Tian Fong VN tells me Liu Nhyn's company situation is getting worse by the day. YNH offers zero actual help, and those two just constantly argue. Liu Nhyn used to think YN was this incredibly gentle guy, caring, with some decent achievements in medicine, but finding out this supposed high-level intellectual was just the son of high school dropouts, and their only house was heavily mortgaged to the bank. Yeah, her whole fantasy started crashing down real fast. Her entire perfect image of Wai Than completely shattered into a million pieces. I treated the whole thing like a joke. Didn't even bother wasting my time on such petty drama. After my company successfully went public, we also had this huge research project rolling out. It was all about building a next-level communication signal booster. Lately, been buried alive in equipment codes. This project is absolutely massive, getting some serious backing from the local top brass. But wait, it gets better. 3 months late, right after work, I spot Liu Nhyn chasing down some young guy. She's pleading with him. We spent a whole month tweaking this plan. This is the 5th version already. You can't just reject it like this. The guy snaps back, Director Liu. I gave you plenty of extra time out of respect for our past deals. But you cannot bring me this garbage and expect it to pass. He shoves her arm away, sending Liu Nhyn stumbling back. I just pretend I didn't see a thing and walk straight toward my car. But she blocks my path, glaring at me with gritted teeth. She yells out, "This is all your fault. My company can't even operate properly because of you. KBCT, don't you think what you're doing is absolutely disgusting?" I just frown at her for a second, then let out a slight smirk. You really think I'm purposely targeting your company, forcing all your partners to turn their backs? Maybe you should take a good look at yourself for once. Liu Nhyn is boiling with hatred but has nowhere to vent it. She's tried absolutely everything, but her business is still totally paralyzed. KBCT, you're playing me on purpose, aren't you? I don't even bother giving her another look, just start the car and drive off. Her company going completely bankrupt has absolutely nothing to do with me. It's just that Tian Fong Vien leaked the news about our divorce, telling everyone they didn't need to show her any more favors. She had already offended quite a few big players in this industry. Before, I was always the one stepping in behind the scenes to clean up her messes. Now that people know she's lost her main backer, they're stepping in and tearing her company's resources apart. Even for someone as stubborn as Liu Nhyn, saving this entire situation is pretty much impossible now. I haven't even made it home yet when Tian Fong Vien calls, dragging me out for dinner. Just walking into the restaurant, one look at that back profile, and I recognize Tyn. She turns around, long wavy hair flowing, and flashes a smile. KBCT, it has been way too long. I agree with her, it really has been a while. Tyn grew up with me and Tian Fong Vien. If the domestic economy hadn't slumped a few years back, forcing her family to move their business overseas, we probably would have stayed close this whole time. Tyn laughs and says I'm still as brilliant as ever, even pushing my company right to the edge of going public. She hears I'm this massive angel investor in the scene now. Apparently, any project that catches my eye practically never takes a loss. I sit down next to her, nodding to acknowledge her own skills. Tyn raises an eyebrow, takes a sip of her wine, and teases me. It's just that my taste in women is pretty awful. Tian Fong Vien tugs her arm and bursts out laughing. He tells me I already know how blunt she can be. I just crack up. I mean, she's not wrong. But throughout the meal, Tyn's gaze on me gets bolder and bolder, barely hiding a thing. Tian Fong Vien catches the vibe and quickly makes his exit. Now check this out. She won't answer any of my questions, and it's 2 a.m. So I just decide to take her home. But the second we step through the door, Tyn pins me against the wall. KBCT, could you maybe consider me instead? That's the exact moment it hits me. She's been putting on an act this whole time. I tell her we're just friends. Suddenly, that strong boss persona cracks, her eyes welling up with tears as she asks what kind of friends. Years ago, when I went abroad, the doll I gave you had a love letter hidden right inside. Why didn't you answer? Even if you wanted to reject me, you should have just said it clearly. I frown, trying hard to dig up that memory, and finally recall it vaguely. But I had absolutely no idea there was a confession letter stuffed in that doll. Ever since she gave it to me, it's been sitting untouched in my house, completely ignored. My voice goes slightly rough, not even daring to look her straight in the eyes. Back then I only cared about building the business. Honestly, if I hadn't met Liu Nhyn, my company would have gone public years ago. Tyn's tears keep falling, flowing endlessly like a broken pearl necklace. So can you finally give me a real chance? Right now? I shake my head, gently pushing her away, full of guilt. I apologize, telling her I'm just not ready for a new relationship yet. You're already divorced, aren't you? Or have you still not forgotten about her? No, I tell her, I just really need some time alone. Tyn gives a bitter laugh, stumbling toward the door. I grab her arm, reminding her it's late, and she drank too much. The living room is spotless. She ends up sitting there for a while before heading into the guest room. From that day on, Tyne starts showing up in my life constantly. She even buys shares in my company, stepping up right away to take on a chunk of the workload. When it comes to recruiting talent, she genuinely has a sharp eye. We are both adults, so we don't let that messy late-night incident make things weird between us. One day, Tyne and I are walking out of the mall, and we run straight into Liu Nhyn arguing with Wei Than. Liu Nhyn points right at him, demanding to know where all her money went. Wei Than swats her hand away, looking totally annoyed. Didn't you just give it to me as a gift? Once a gift is given, there is absolutely no reason to take it back. Liu Nhyn screams until her throat goes completely hoarse, totally desperate. So where is that car I bought you? What exactly are you hiding from me? Suddenly, an older woman rushes out from the back and slaps Liu Nhyn right across the face. My son does not even mind that you are used goods. So what if he takes some of your cash? His youngest sibling is relying on him. You are bankrupt now, so get out of here. Liu Nhyn is dizzy from the hit, wanting to fight back, but completely outmatched by this mother and son. She slumps onto the dirt, glaring at Wei Than with pure hatred. It turns out you played me from the very start, just for my money. Now that I have absolutely nothing left, you want to toss me aside too. Wei Than looks grim, adjusting his sleeves without even throwing her a single glance. Let us go, Mom. The next one will be way better. I turn and whisper to Tyne beside me. So is this the real reason you dragged me out shopping today? Tyne tilts her head with a smile. Spot on. I burst out laughing, pretty surprised that someone as rational as Tyne actually has this kind of girly, petty side. The show is officially over, so we should probably get going too. You are not mad, right? Hearing her ask that, I just shake my head. Not at all. I have already done everything possible for Liu Nhyn. This marriage ended a long time ago, so whatever happens to her has absolutely nothing to do with me anymore. Liu Nhyn suddenly rushes up from behind us, spots Tyne by my side, and immediately points a finger. Who is she? KBCT. Did you change your heart the second we divorced? I give her a pretty cold stare. Who do you think you are? Liu Nhyn. Do not forget we are already divorced. Hearing that completely sets Liu Nhyn off, and she screams out, you tricked me first. You planned this divorce from the start. You never even loved me at all. I just shoot back. So who changed their heart first? You had an affair with Wei Than while still my wife, and now that you have nothing left, what else is there to say? Expecting my forgiveness? I wanted to make things crystal clear from the start. It was that exact obsession with splitting every single penny that made Liu Nhyn think she was somehow incredibly important. Claiming I never loved her is just ridiculous. Why else would I have married her without any real feelings? We first met at a restaurant, and the second we locked eyes, my heart went absolutely crazy. It really felt like that exact moment was pure destiny. Liu Nhyn always believed that money meant everything, that having enough cash and power could somehow secure a permanent spot in someone's heart. But how can the effort of just one person possibly sustain a marriage meant for two? On the way home, Tyne asks if I'm going to help her. I tell her absolutely not. Liu Nhyn brought this current ending entirely upon herself. First thing the next morning, my assistant walks in with a report. Liu Nhyn is causing a huge scene downstairs, demanding to see me. But after that last stunt where she barged right into my office, absolutely nobody dares to let her up anymore. If she keeps making a mess, just call the cops. Now this is where the mood shifts. I stand by the tall window, watching the gloomy sky, and Liu Nhyn down below. It is a pretty familiar sight, looking exactly like the day I was abandoned, pouring down in the exact same heavy rain. And yet, Liu Nhyn shows absolutely zero intention of leaving. The raindrops get heavier slowly, turning the view below into a complete blur. Tyne knocks and walks in, asking if I want to grab some food. I agree, and we start driving out toward the restaurant. Right out of the parking lot, Liu Nhyn blocks our path. She stands there soaking wet, looking like she is ready to risk it all. I step out and look at her totally pathetic state in the rain. Liu Nhyn bites her lip, reluctantly forcing herself to speak. KBCT, how could you treat me this way? Now, have absolutely nothing left. Are you happy? I just stare back at her with a pretty cold look. You losing everything has absolutely nothing to do with me. Blocking my car like this. Are you trying to run some cheap scam? Liu Nhyn forces a bitter smile. I am not here to scam you. Then why block my car? What do you want? Under the pouring downpour, her face is totally soaked. Hard to tell if it is rain or tears. Her eyes are bloodshot, lips trembling to speak, but she cannot make a single sound. Consider this a warning. Never come anywhere near my company again, because I am absolutely never seeing you again. Seeing me about to leave, Liu Nhyn quickly blurts out her real goal. Seriously, I have nowhere left to stay, and barely any money on me. Can you just lend me a little bit? You can probably guess my move here. A flat-out no. Liu Nhyn freezes up, thinking she misheard, but then she sees my actual expression. Her face instantly twists, and she screams out KBCT. If you had not tricked me, how would I have ever ended up in this desperate state? Cannot you even help me out with just this tiny little thing? I just smirk. Help you with what? Between the two of us, who actually tricked who first? Did you not bring this absolute disaster entirely upon yourself? You were the one who had an affair first. You clung to your tiny little company, terrified I would take advantage of you. And you were the one faking all those ridiculous illnesses, just because you desperately wanted me to leave completely empty-handed, right? Now, you finally got your wish. So why the frown? My voice stays dead cold. I finish speaking and completely ignore her pale, shocked face. With just a quick wave of my hand, the security guards march out into the storm to drag her away. She tumbles right onto the wet sidewalk, finally pouring all her bitter, pent-up resentment onto YNH instead. A few days later, I spot the biggest headline flashing across the city news. A head doctor used his exams to seduce countless wealthy ladies. He tossed out fake psychological diagnoses just to scare them. Then he swooped in closer. The guy scammed them out of hundreds of millions. Honestly, I already knew exactly what kind of guy Yithan really was. No family money, raising younger siblings, and just a totally average guy trying to climb the social ladder. He took whatever he could get, hiding a twisted mind. But catch this irony. Now, he is locked up, and his accuser is Lu Nuyen. She never changes, still holding onto that fierce need for payback. She used to love Yithan so much. I honestly thought they had this incredibly deep connection. Back then, I totally fell for Lu Nuyen. I genuinely would have given up everything for her. Seeing her hit rock bottom now just leaves me feeling a little sad. To Wai Nin tells me straight up, Lu Nuyen only stayed with me back then because I look super easy to manipulate. She bravely confesses her feelings again, but I still turn her down. Right now, I have zero interest in dating. I just want to focus completely on work. Lu Nuyen tries to see me a few more times. She ends up visiting the police station constantly, and honestly, she just looks visibly older now. 3 years later, my company becomes the absolute top leader in the entire country. And somehow, I still have zero scandals to my name. People call me a totally clean break in this messy industry. To Wai Nin helps me cut off quite a few messy relationships, but she waits forever, and I never give her an answer. So once again, she heads overseas. On the day she leaves, her eyes are completely red. She asks me if there really is zero destiny between us. I calmly look at her and apologize. I never see To Wai Nin after that. But one day, while driving, I randomly spot Lu Nuyen handing out flyers on the street. I roll up my window instantly. I do not want to look at her for even one more second. Music plays.